Well, I think that the short end of the market certainly started to price in that risk. And the markets I think we had what 6-7% on Treasury bills that were going to mature around this point in time when the debt default would have occurred. And so we did see some shifting in yields at the short end, and some of the credit default swaps went up in price. But and I think that was just prudence on the part of money managers. But there was never a doubt to me it was going to go up. But to a large extent, the market has to be part of this theater, this political theater that finally sends the message to Washington, and everybody gets on their high horse, makes some speeches, they all vote, and they get the damn thing passed. And they did again this time. I think politically, and I know that's not the topic to talk about here, but I keep wondering whether or not Biden, McCarthy, Jeffries, Jeffries being the head of the Democrats in the House, are going to recognize that with a reasonable piece of legislation, and there are many things to legislate on, including immigration, there's a broad middle that you can cobble together a majority and essentially render the extremes of both parties moot. And is that going to be viewed as a path forward to get some important things done, rather than each leader just saying, "Oh, we can't go there because these 5 guys or these 10 votes, whatever, aren't going to come with us"? That's a topic for another time, but I think it's certainly something that, from a political standpoint, is worth thinking about going forward.
I think that's very interesting, and I think very, very well observed, and something for our audience to focus on. Let me just broaden out the picture and talk a little bit about the connection between what we're seeing in the House then and ultimately where we're going on interest rates, and the fact that we've now got a few Fed speakers who are starting to use this term skip. We can skip, pause, but maybe we may need to do more down the road here. You're making an important point in your notes this morning about how you think QT is basically done here. Just explain why.
Well, look, QT works, it doesn't work, depending upon what's going on with the deficit. And because essentially what QT does is ask the market to fund more than the net new debt that the Treasury is raising. So this year, it's been really a meaningless exercise. And it's been a meaningless exercise because there hasn't been any really net new debt issued. And then secondly, instead of reserves and overnight repo, the two main liabilities on the Fed balance sheet running off, what's really run off has been the Treasury bank account, so to speak, at the Fed. And that's been a plus. If you look at how much money's come out, and this money that's being spent by Treasury that they're not raising at the same time, either through debt or taxes, and they're just spending that money, obviously it's obligations to spend, and that's to the tune of about 3% of 5 months worth of GDP. Now we go forward, well, they're going to fill that bank account back up, which is down somewhere under 50 billion at the moment, back over to probably around 650 billion. And that's a lot of money to raise in a short amount of time, on top of all the other debt that's got to come out. And now for the Fed to, on top of that, say, okay, 95 billion a month is our runoff. That's a very sharp tightening of liquidity. We saw a bit of that in 2018, and we know what happened then. And I don't think this Fed is really, the fact that they want to skip is a vote of their saying, look, there's a lot of question marks at the economy right now, and now we're adding this one in, adding another 25 here in a couple of weeks versus doing it at the end of July probably doesn't make much of a difference to the course of anything. So it makes sense to wait. And I think the Fed will probably pause on QT once they see, or I should say, if they see that kind of a squeeze on liquidity. Now, of course, Treasury can extend out the time frame for when they refill the coffers. In the past, they've done it right away. They may take 6, 12 months to do it. So we don't really know. We don't know their plan. We'll find that all out probably within in the matter of weeks,
Right.
and get a better sense of it.